Now, of course, we have a question here, but I also want to make the change in the writing. Of course, we explained everything what standard rate in variable overhead means. So let me change it. So standard rate means how much rate per hour we should have paid. If I want to make it more precise, I'll say how much variable overhead rate, let's say variable overhead we should have, we should have spent per hour, we should have per hour of labor. That's what standard rate here means. Standard rate means how much variable overhead we should have spent per hour of labor. Actual rate means the same thing, but how much we actually did. So how much variable overhead we actually spend per hour of labor. Simple way to put it. And obviously, everything hours are the same because we said labor and variable overhead are used based on the same hours. Hours don't really change at all. So look at the question and we will get started. Okay. So again, solving the question, we have our strategy. Find the four things: SR, AR, SH, AH. Standard rate, what does that mean? That means how much variable overhead rate we should have spent per hour of labor. So let's see. So standard labor hours per unit, we don't need that. Standard variable overhead rate 4.5 per labor hour means we're spending $4.5 in variable overhead for every labor hour we are working. So 4.5 actual rate, how much variable overhead we actually spend for every labor hour. So again, we have not been given the rate, so we have to find it. Simple. It's the total variable overhead divided by the total labor hours. So 17,390 divided by 3,700. There we go. Now standard hours. Standard hours again mean the total hours we should have worked. So we know per unit labor hours is 3 because we know variable overhead and labor direct labor have the same hours, you know. So 3 times how many units did we produce? 1200. So what I did is I took the hours we should have spent per unit with how many units I've actually produced to see how much I should have used for that level of production. 3,600 hours is standard hours. Actual hours, we already can see 3,700 right there. Now, one thing I will say here, whenever you're getting close answers like SR, AR is close, SH, AH is close, that means you probably are solving it correctly. You know, when you get like very different answers, like SH is very different than AH, probably you made a mistake in the exam, you know. So just be on the lookout for that. Now we literally just solve the formulas. I will just copy them and we'll plug in the numbers. There we go. So first we write standard rate. Standard rate is of course 4.5. Actual rate 4.7. AH, which is 3,700. We'll solve that. And then this one, SH, which is 3,600, minus AH, which is 3,700, times SR, which is 4.5. There we go. If I solve this, we will get 740. And if I solve this, we will get 450. So that means in this question also both are unfavorable. And that's how you solve it. Of course, if the answer was positive, that will mean it's favorable, it's good for us. But in this case, it's unfavorable, it's not good for us. If we do the total, this will give us the total variable overhead variance. So this is called the total variable overhead variance. So that's all there is to the variable overheads. Simple, again, just easy to know the formulas. The difficult part, or let's say the complicated part, is to know what everything means, which is not actually that difficult. It's just people don't consider this part, understanding what these four things mean, as important. So they don't spend as much time on this as solving questions. You don't really have to solve questions. First, understand this well, solve a couple of questions. If you're able to find the things you're looking for, you're good to go.